What's up, guys? Welcome to Iron OGs with King Kamali and myself, Armon Adibi. We are going to, of course, talk about the Olympia. And I guess let's start off with Samson won. A lot of people had him coming into the show saying he was going to win. We were just kind of like, is he going to be conditioned? That was the main thing. Or conditioned enough to win. And he was. And, we were on the play-by-play. We were like, any one of these guys could win, and we would be okay. But then afterwards, I started seeing more pictures and stuff, and I thought, okay, Derek, he was not the same Derek. Hadi was thin. He looked good from the front, but from the sides, I thought he was thin. From the back, I thought he was a little too soft. What are your thoughts, King?
Yeah, same thing. Same exact thing. Listen, they asked, what did they ask from Samson last year to this year? They said, come in better condition, which he did. Yep. And they said, thicken up your back, which he did. Mm-hmm. Okay, so his back shots were excellent. He has the best shape on stage. He was one of, next to Andrew, the biggest guys on stage. He has one of the best shapes. I mean, listen, he checks off a lot of boxes. You know what I'm saying? Derek, no. You know, I felt bad for him because you know, we could talk about a lot of stuff. Like you talked to people that were there. I talked to people that were there and backstage, and he was panicking backstage. That's what I heard that from two different people, that he was backstage. And you know when someone's panicking, when you're asking everyone what they think. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to John Romano. He's going to Victor. He's going to, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? When you know, Phil Heath was back there, he was like, I'm Mr. Olympia. You know, he would walk back there saying, I'm Mr. Olympia. And I mean, Ronnie Coleman, I've been back there. I know what it's like. Yeah. He was panicking because he just wasn't feeling it. Something wasn't there. Or maybe sometimes, I don't know, Armon, if you noticed this about the judges, I did throughout my career. When you look at them and they don't look back at you, it's a bad feeling, man. I'm telling you. Because you're like, why aren't you looking at me, man? I'm giving you my best shot. I mean, my hamstrings are torn to pieces. Come on, look at. Nope, they're not looking at you. It's a bad sign. Yeah. Hadi, 100% agree. You and me, especially me and you, we had it tied. We're like, listen, we don't know after prejudging. Palumbo was saying Samson. Milos was saying Samson. This guy was saying Derek. That guy was okay. Everybody had the decision. You and I were like, we don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's very, very close. But as you just said, once you start to look at the pictures, the high def pictures, because you can't judge on what you're watching on the live stream. This just doesn't work. You start to see what's going on. Hadi looks small from the side shots. And for some reason, even with all that crazy heavy leg work that he did 1 week out, 6 plates, 5 plates, 4 plates, all the stuff that we saw, his legs look downsized. You know what I'm saying?
And you think that hurt him because you know the workouts. Like I don't know about you, but I mean, I never trained that heavy, like that close to the show. I do with pump workouts, you know, like more volume stuff. Just play it safe. You're a week out, you're 2 weeks out, or whatever. So even a few weeks out, your joints are dry. I mean, I think these guys haven't had injuries yet. I'm not sure if you experienced any like bad injuries. I did, and it wasn't from in the gym. But once I had my first like injury, my shoulder, after that, I had a fear in the gym. I was always scared to, once I got back in the gym, to push it. You always have that fear. And you need to push it to a certain extent. But once you get that fear, I think it affects your training. There's no sense to train that heavy. I mean, your ego, you feel good. You can train that heavy. It doesn't hurt. And they're kind of like, I guess why not? Derek was doing the same thing. You saw him with the T-bar rows and the heavy everything. And I think Derek's waist thickened up a little bit. It looked like it thickened to me. He was doing a lot of heavy T-bar rows in his back. I don't think his backside looked any different to me. I think it looked pretty much the same. But from the front, the legs were just, I mean, 3 weeks out, the legs look good. Even a couple weeks out, I watched a few of the videos of him and Hadi training, because Hadi comes over here. Derek, they come to Texas. They train at Hadi's, private gym here. And what do you think about it? It's kind of weird. It's your biggest competition, and then you're like training with them. You have the same coach. And would you feel comfortable with that?
No. I feel comfortable with my own routine.
Yeah.
You know, I have my own routine. I have my own training partners. I have my own restaurants. I have my own gas station. There's a routine, and bodybuilders go with routines. You know what I'm saying? So I don't agree with any of that stuff. I don't agree with bringing, I don't know. I don't know Hani Rambod. I don't know. I know him, but I don't know what he does and his program and stuff. I thought one of the things, Armon, that I said, and I told you this, I don't know if I told you this off the air or I told you this on air, but I said, Hadi looks too confident.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yes, I said there's too much confidence and picking up the Sandow trophy and laughing and almost giggling when Samson took his shirt off and started clapping for him like sarcastically, like, okay, so you're showing your body. That's too much. You can't do that at that level, man. You just cannot do it because you're gonna end up shooting yourself in the foot.
He's got all those fans in his ear telling him you're going to win. You're going to win. I think that's to a certain extent that gets to somebody, and they're like, okay, I got this time. There's no way I'm not making the same mistakes as last year. And then, I don't know if you saw on Facebook, he posted, he posted champion and a little picture of a trophy. Then he posted his Olympia win from, was it, I guess, 3 years ago now? Yeah. And him and the trophy. It's so funny. And then you got the Iranian fans underneath saying, yes, champion, you were robbed and all that stuff. But go ahead.
Listen, look, Armon, we all agree that if the Hadi that showed up at the Arnold Classic would have showed up at the Olympia, there was a good chance he could have won. Okay? Yeah, it was a good chance that he could have won. But we didn't see that Hadi. It wasn't that Hadi. And especially from the back. We've said this over and over again. He is the exact opposite of Lunsford. Derek from the front is, you look at it and you're like, what's going on? But from the back, he's super dominant. Hadi from the front is Mr. Olympia. Okay. But from the side, he's a little thin. From the back, Samson just checks off everything. He's just there from the front, from the side, from the back. It's all there. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention he's 300 pounds and not to mention he's over 6 feet. Personally, listen, I never wanted to guess the future and stuff like that, but I think this was a turning point in bodybuilding. I think this was just like when Dorian posted those black and white pictures and the entire IFBB went, what the hell is that? And it kind of changed everything from the Sean Ray, Flex Wheeler, Kevin Levrone, beautiful physiques to freakazoids, are us. I think right now, Samson came along and said, okay, I'm giving you shape. I'm giving you everything that you guys want. And now I'm Mr. Olympia. I think if he doesn't get injured, that's the key. If he does not get injured and just keeps going, he's going to hold on to that title for a while. And now, the most beautiful part of this whole thing is, and I know, we can tell everybody, if they haven't heard already, Armon knows and I know, Samson's doing the Arnold. He's already said he's going to do the Arnold. You know why? Because Samson wants to collect those checks. Who wouldn't want to collect the $600,000 check? Not to mention Arnold is not going to let the Olympia outshine him. So it might be $1 million. Who knows?
We got all three guys in it again.
Yeah, he wants to collect those checks.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's life changing for him because last year I guess he won. What last year was different. So I know this year was 100,000, which Derek 100,000 isn't that much these days.
No.
Especially for a bodybuilder.
You take the taxes out. Then you're down with what, 55,000, 56,000.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, right? So listen, it was interesting. I do want to say one thing right now. I talked to you about this before off the air. I'm going to bring it out. We got to mention the Iranian fans. You're Iranian. You're more Iranian American than I am. I'm more Iranian American. So you guys have to stop. For the love of God, you got to stop. Armon is not a judge. I am not a judge. And we were the only two guys that actually were saying that there's a good chance that Hadi might win this after prejudging. It was close. So please stop with your stupid DMs, with your emails, with all the stuff that you sent. I didn't judge the show. Armon didn't judge the show. If you have problems, you contact the IFBB. Contact them and send them the fucking messages, not me and Armon. So that's that. Um, it is setting it up on for the Armon Classic. What do you think? Because you think Hadi's going to do it?
Yeah.
What about Derek?
Yeah. I think Derek kind of. Well, I think he kind of gave the answer right after. I mean, Derek was. I mean, I saw his interview with Australian guy. Mind's blank, but he was
Tony
confused. He
Doherty?
was hurt.
Was it Tony
Yeah,
Doherty?
yeah, yeah. He was confused. He was hurt. I don't think he knows. I think he has to look at the pictures, understand, talk to Hani that he was off. His legs were down. He didn't have that same like V because his waist was a little thicker, I think, and his quads were significantly down. I don't know what happened. He can't come in perfect every time. Even though Hani is considered one of the best coaches, things go wrong. Even though Hani tries to really, really just like micromanage everything. That's why he has the guys come to Texas. Even though you got Hadi coming from Iran to Texas, then to Vegas, and Hani's they're just staying there, eating, and Hani's training them, a couple weeks leading into the Olympia until they go to Vegas. And I don't know. I mean, maybe it worked before, but I don't know what really happened to them this year. They were significantly off. I'm not sure if Hadi burned muscle in general or just was really, really flat, played with too many. Hadi is not really big into much diuretics at all. And so
Hadi doesn't need diuretics.
No. So I'm not sure if it was
I've
just.
worked with Iranians before,
No.
not necessary, because if you take too much diuretics, you lose your legs, you lose your fullness, and you're done. Most of the Iranians are always in shape all year round, and they're in good shape. All you need is a little aldactone and you're ready. But I don't know, man. This is something that Hani Rambat has to answer. I don't know that. I mean, you know the protocol. You worked with Hani before, but I've dealt with. I mean, listen, I myself have dealt with diuretics before. I know what it's like. I was ready in 2004 for the Arnold Classic. I remember Steve Bleckman and Chad came into my room, and Bleckman was like this. He's like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm ready. I'm fucking ready." And then, I'm not gonna say what happened, but I took a Bumex that I shouldn't have. And have you ever taken Bumex? It kicks the living shit out of you, man. It's worse than Lasix. And then I woke up the next morning and couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning on going to Australia that year, but I said, okay, I can't go out like this, man. So then I called up Tony Doherty. He goes, man, I'll be more than happy to have you come here. So the diuretic game is very, very tricky. I don't know, man. I mean, listen, we saw it with our own eyes, and then he came back. You and I were screaming, eat some burgers. Hadi, all Hadi needs to do is go to his room, eat some burgers and fries and fill back out. I'm not sure what he did, but he did come back better. But you can't come back that drastically better. It's just not going to happen. Not in 24 hours. No.
That's why I think it might be a little muscle loss too, not just being flat. But even the 24 hours, that's not. Maybe if you had a few days, couple days, 2 to 3 days, maybe. But it is what it is. And I mean, I'm happy for Samson. I think Samson, he has one of those physiques that he can just keep improving. His whole life doing his whole thing, whatever that is. But I mean, I guess she's probably like on him. I mean, he's like, she was on me. I mean, I was starving and I was doing a lot of cardio, and I think he was doing like an hour and a half. I don't think that's a lot of cardio, but
that's not a lot of cardio.
Some people have been doing 3 hours of cardio. That's a lot of cardio, 3 hours, but maybe it is to him. Maybe because I don't think he was doing much cardio before. I know he was complaining like he wouldn't eat fish. He wouldn't do certain things to get that condition he needed. I think that's the only thing he changed. I just think he, some people on their prep when they're hungry, they feel like they need a meal, and he had to learn kind of like, hey, I'm going to have to be hungry. I'm going to have to be starving. It's going to be just part of it. That's the whole thing with the whole gun range thing. I thought it was weird. I thought it was going to affect his physique. Who knows if it did or didn't, but I think he needed to get out of the room to get his mind off starving or whatever. A lot of people got on me after that video. They're like, oh, you're wrong. I'm like, I was making a prediction. Most Olympians don't go to the gun range 3 days out from a show and shooting high, big ass guns. Of course, I know that would stress my physique out. If I was 3 days out, I can't move, just like you said. I mean, you're just like, just laying there like conditioned. But Andrew Jack, we were told coming into the show that he is going to blow everybody away.
Right.
I'm not sure if he looked great day out, 3 hours before the show, 5 hours before the show, and something happened last minute. I don't think that was the case. We'll go into that, but Andrew's got his posing. He's just like, man, he's got to get into his posing.
But he said out of his own mouth, we're not talking for him, and we're going to just repeat from the horse's mouth. He said, that's my personality. He said it. He said, everybody's telling me to be aggressive and this, and that's not me. I am not that guy. So he said it. We didn't say it, folks. Let me say it one more time. Yeah. King Kamali's not saying it. Armon's not saying it. That's what Andrew said after the show, because a lot of people, including me, I was texting him saying, Andrew, be aggressive. You got to be aggressive. You can't just go up there and be cool and do this. Like Victor Martinez back in the day, he used to have his shorts down hanging low a little bit. And I used to say to Victor, what is that? He goes, it looks cool, bro. It looks cool, but it doesn't look right. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's just him. But I also know that Psycho Lewis, who trained him, is taking some of the blame for it. He said that it's my fault too, because apparently Aceto wanted to bring him in full and big. Psycho Lewis was suggesting to bring him more conditioned. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know, bro. I don't know. It's just like, I'm a big fan of Andrew. I like him a lot. I think he's incredibly dangerous. I think that he definitely is in the hunt for the Mr. Olympia title. But his posing, I agree. He's got to tweak the posing. And again, as crazy as it sounds, I don't know if you agree with me, another 10 pounds? Another 10 pounds?
Yeah, it has to. You know, when Chris Psycho was saying that, I never had a trainer and a coach. You had a coach, and then you know, sometimes they might tell you how to train, or you train yourself. That's when you have someone that's training you, and I know he was staying with Psycho Lewis, and then you have Chris Aceto just kind of talking to him on the phone here and there. And, Chris Psycho Lewis from the beginning, there was like Tyler Mannion said, hey, we want to see him tighter from the hamstrings and glutes.
Right.
And then Psycho Lewis said Chris Aceto. He agreed. And then Chris Aceto went the other direction. He was like, okay, we're going to get him bigger. Through Texas, my understanding from Texas, where I saw him in person backstage, he looked insane just in person. And I think he was better in Texas. And, he was, I think, about 12 pounds heavier at the Olympia. In that short of time, you're not going to put on a solid 12 pounds. I mean, I think Tyler told him, put on maybe 4 or 5 pounds and then come in tighter from the back. Psycho Lewis said he did the opposite. And he said, and then he finally went along with Chris and said, okay, this is his coach. This is the one that's telling him what to eat and all that. And he just kind of gave in. And then he said if he could go back, he wouldn't give in. He would push against it and say, no, we really need to go this way. But that's tricky when you're an athlete. And he said Andrew wasn't cheating. He was staying with him. He did everything he's supposed to do. In the workouts, he would do everything he's supposed to do. Unless something was hurting. Hey, this is hurting my shoulder or something obvious. But Andrew listens. He's not like some of these other guys that, that are cheating and eating all this bullshit and not telling them. But when you have a trainer and a coach and you're on this, have a team and you're not agreeing on how this guy should come in, that's a problem. And, he said, hey, he should fire both of us.
You also don't want to jump from one coach to another either. That's another thing Ramy, he was the king of that. Coming from going one coach to another coach to another coach to another coach. Just you get a winning formula and stick with it. I don't know. I like Andrew a lot. We go back and forth. I text him, he texts me back, but I don't know what the situation is right there. But if he's listening to us right now, my advice to him would be to Andrew, continue to do what you're doing. Whether you like it or not, or if it's your personality or not, you are a professional athlete. You got to do what you have to do to win, right? And I think he would agree to that. He would probably right now, if he was here, he would say, yeah, King, that's right. You're a pro athlete. You got to do what you got to do to win. Well, you got to be more aggressive, man. You have to be more aggressive on stage. You have to thicken up a little bit more. And you need shredded glutes, and you need stiff-legged deadlifts, 405. Go 4 or 5 stiff-legged deadlifts. Psycho Lewis, if he's out there, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's just got to thicken up a little bit more from the side and all that stuff. Yeah, listen, he's elite. He's obviously top. What would he place? 5th or 6th?
He was
5th place, wasn't it?
5th place.
5th place. 5th in the world. So being 5th in the world is obviously elite. He's the 1% of the 1%. We just got to take it to that next level. I mean, he can do it. He can definitely fucking do it.
And he's still, it's not like he's been competing since a teenager, like a lot of these guys, or like since a young age either. He's a little late to the game with the competing, I believe. But I believe he's around like 39, 40.
Yes.
But he doesn't have all that wear and tear that I know I did. I started at, competing 18. I know you started as a teenager too. That puts a lot of wear and tear when you're doing it for that long. And,
hell yeah.
So I think his body's fresh. I think he can get I think he can do it. I just think he needs that's your coach. You need to have a talk with your coach and make sure you're on the same page. I agree. These guys, they coach hop way too much. It's insane how you hire a coach and the next show you're switching a coach every time. I mean, hey, listen, you coach, I coach people. We got to learn someone's body. Some bodies are easier to learn than others, and then some people have tricky bodies. Like I have clients, it takes a few years, and then once you get that formula for them, you're like, okay, now we're on. And then, like you said before, you'll have clients that win shows and go hire different coaches. It's the most ludicrous thing ever. And when they usually do that, they don't do that well. They usually like go backwards and whatever the case may be, maybe they didn't like to suffer that hard. Maybe another coach told them, hey, we can do this and you can eat cheat meals and macro dieting or whatever bullshit that sounds easier because maybe you had to do what you had to do to get in shape, but that's just a weird thing. But yeah, I think Andrew is he going to do the Arnold? Do we know?
I think there's 85% possibility that he'll do the Arnold. Yeah. He has to, man.
Yeah, I mean, these guys they've got to compete. He should not fire them both. Psycho is throwing Chris Aceto under the bus. I don't think he's throwing him under the bus. He came out there and he literally said, "I'm not putting words in anything mouths. I'm giving my statement." And he didn't say he should just fire Chris. He said he should fire his team.
Both of us. Yeah, he did say
both of us because we didn't do the right thing. But he also said that he should have stepped up and went to Chris and said, "Hey, Chris, we're not going in the right direction. This is not what Tyler Mannion told us to do. You know how it is. If a judge tells you do this and you don't do it, you're not going to be in the running." And he wasn't because he didn't come how Tyler wanted him to come. He wasn't tighter in the glutes, like we said, or hamstrings. And he does need more hamstrings. But I think he needs to have a talk with Aceto and listen, we need to do what we need to do to come on, point on stage. Of course, we need to get bigger. Are we going to do it from Texas to Olympia? No, we need an off season to get this done, but we should have came in tighter. Do I think he would make top 3 if he came in tighter? Probably not. I think maybe he would have got maybe 4. I mean, who knows? But I think he would have jumped.
But they would have compared him, Armon. You agree that?
Yeah. They would have compared.
They didn't compare him at all. They kept him on the side.
I think he was next to him one time just by whatever, but you know how it is when you don't get that call out, your body just you
deflate. You just your cortisol goes up, you deflate, and this fire goes down. 100%. That happens to everyone.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just it is what it is. He needs to, talk and
one other thing that we should mention about Samson. I see his name just came up again. Samson hates negative reinforcement. He doesn't like any negative reinforcement.
He blocks everybody.
Samson's not King Kamali. I thrive off of haters. I'm like Samson. Haters are like in my hair. You know what I'm saying? The more haters I have, the better I was. And that's just me. Samson's the exact opposite. He doesn't like it when you say, yeah, you're a little bit behind. If you say that to him, he loses. He'll punch a hole in the wall and he'll go crazy. I think one of the main things that benefited Samson was the fact that his wife knows that. She understands her husband better than anybody else on the planet. She knows what to say to him. If he's a little bit behind, I guarantee you she knows the right things to say. Like, baby, let's do an extra 30 minutes of cardio. I'll do it with you just to show those motherfuckers that we can.
Right.
That's just her way of Jedi mind tricking him to, that's a great partner to have. I wish, God bless Samson to have some. I wish my wife, my ex-wife, was like that. She was the exact opposite. So if you have that, it's a great thing. Now, do I believe that Samson's wife is the best coach in the world? No, not even close to that. No. I think Milo set everything up, and then she took over, and she just knew what to do with Samson. But that mental play, that mental aspect that you brought up, man, I'm telling you, absolutely right. You hit something really important right there. Like I said, when the judges aren't looking at you, you're like, what, man? What do you want? What else can I do? And that's what was happening to Lunsford. Victor Martinez I saw his video on Generation 9, and he said he was back there panicking. He was panicking. Yeah. And you saw one of the videos where he was like, so Romano, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think, Romano? You don't do that when you're confident. You don't do that when you're 100% ready and you're rocking and rolling. He was panicking.
John's not a judge. He's not a coach. He's just back there. It's like, what do you tell somebody to ask you that it's just, you just got off stage? Just like, it's
so we got somebody right here saying he doesn't have the genetics for glutes. Okay, so let me say something about that. Yeah, when I did the nationals, the first time I did the nationals, the head judge was Peter Potter, and I got 11th, and I was devastated because I had won everything up to that point. I had never lost. So then I went up to him. I said, Mr. Potter, what do I need to work on? And he goes, your hamstrings are terrible, son. You got to work on your hamstrings. That was like a seed being planted in my head. All that did was the blinders went on, and I squinted my eyes and looked at him. I said, okay. And I walked away. And guess what? I put my face to the ground and I went. And guess 2 years later, when I did win the nationals, I remember looking down when I hit my side shot. I looked at Weinberger and he went like this. And then Potter was like this. Yeah. So it can be done. You just have to focus. You have to have the right mentality. You have to have the right drive. You got to turn off that heat. I know Andrew's like, that's not my personality. You got to make it your personality. Bodybuilding is being uncomfortable. If you're comfortable, you're not doing it right. You have to.
Do you want to win, or do you want to get fifth place again? Right. It's like not my personality. Like shit. My personality, I like, I'm very aggressive. I'd be punching people in the face all day. I don't do that because it's not good. You have to do things that, that's not you sometimes. I mean, this is, do you want to eat fish every day? Do you want to do a cardio? No, hell no. But you do things to become within reason. Like you don't go like some of the stuff I talked about before, the dirty industry stuff in the industry. But yeah, I mean, hamstrings, let's see. I don't think Samson has been training bodybuilding style for that long. I think he's probably just been going through the motions. Now he's with Chris, Ika Lewis. His hamstrings definitely can come up. His glutes can come up, and they can come in. A lot of people think, I know like when you competed a lot with a lot of guys that didn't have glutes, with Anthony, Cormier a lot of times didn't have glutes. But that was due, I believe, to it was dieting. Let's be honest. Like they just didn't diet hard, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen. To get to the professional levels, you're elite. Okay, you're the 1% when you get to the pros, especially back then. I'm not really now, but especially back then. Then how are you going to separate yourself in that 1%? You make yourself the 1% of the 1%. It comes down to the last 2-3 weeks. Yeah. 90% of people, this, Armon, they coast. I'm there. I'm going to coast. Then there's the 10% who just get crazier and turn it up even more and diet even harder. I can't look at white fish anymore. I can't look at a sweet potato anymore. I look at it and I start to heave. You know what I mean? That's how much white fish and sweet potatoes I ate. But you got to make those fucking sacrifices. You have to do it. This is the sport that you chose. You want to do something else? Go fucking play golf.
Yep. I'm going to talk about the play things because a lot of people are just like, okay, first place Samson Dado won $600,000. That's a lot of money. Okay.
Yes, it is.
You understand that's first place. You got these other guys. Let's go down the list. Okay, second is 250. That's some good chunk of change.
Yes.
Third, 100,000.
Especially for an Iranian. That's like that's like $1 million in Iran.
You got fourth, Martin. He was 75,000. That's like, okay, it's still a little bit of money. Andrew, 50,000. That's not much money at all. You got Hunter at sixth. That's 40,000. William, 35,000. Raphael at eighth, 30,000. That's nothing. Brandon Curry, ninth, 25,000, and 10th, Akeem, 20,000. So the 10th best bodybuilder in the world gets $20,000. Is bodybuilders making money? Some are. But $20,000 plus you got your endorsements and contracts. It's not a lot of money these other guys are making at the Olympia. You got, okay, we're doing $600,000. That's one person. You got the Olympia, and if Samson wins Arnold, okay, you got over $1 million, right? So, or about $1 million. Yeah.
Armon, I was watching a TikTok video last night when I was going to sleep. And there was this, is it politically correct to say midget, or is it little people now? I'm not sure what the politically correct way to say it.
I don't know.
Let's just say she was a little woman. Okay, one of these little people, AKA midget, whatever. And she was doing a podcast. And the guy asked her, he goes, I'll explain why I'm even saying this afterwards. He said to her, he goes, how much money are you making on OF? And she said, I'm not going to tell you, but I'll show you. So she grabbed her phone and she handed it to him. He looked at it and he looked at her. He goes, you have got to be kidding me. She goes, no, I've retired my entire family. Nobody works anymore.
Yeah.
When you have that and Akeem Williams made $20,000, it's disgusting. It's heartbreaking. It's disgusting. There's a million different adjectives I can throw in there. What are you going to do about it, though? It's a whole different world right now. It's a whole different community and a whole different aspect of what's going on, what have you. You really, truly have to love bodybuilding to be in this crazy-ass sport. You really have to truly love it. And I think, since we're talking about Akeem, I think he was overlooked. He looked fantastic.
He looked great. If they go back to the back thing and his back, I don't think his back can improve. I mean, Akeem's
can't do nothing about that.
Early 40s, that's his back.
Yeah.
Other bodybuilders have had a weak back. It's like, you have to have a great back to be a great bodybuilder. It seems like people can have other missing body parts, but for some reason the back, they're up so, you had a great back. I had a horrible back. My back sucked, but I had to work really extra hard and train twice a week, and my back always sucked. But the whole back thing, that's his back. Like, my back was not good at all. I had the best it was. I was training it twice a week and doing, foam rolling every day for 30 minutes, massage therapy, and it got better, but still, it was what it was. Trust me, Akeem's tried everything for his back.
I'm sure he has,
A lot of people are trying to say, they think it's atrophied from shooting the lats too much. He's never had those big dropped lats. So I think that
it's genetic. It's 100% genetic.
It's genetic. Let me answer this real quick because people start silly rumors. Okay, weird how you just dumped Larry and played off like nothing. Me and Larry were supposed to do a show together one day. So we did it, and then I'll just be straight up how it went. And that's all. We were just supposed to do a show one day like this. We didn't agree like me and King did. Hey, we're going to start a series every Thursday. And then after the show, he's like, hey, see you next week at this time. So it put me in a little uncomfortable situation. I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? I'll do it another time with you. And I'll be honest. Some people just don't click. Okay. And getting this set up, you have to devote a lot. When we get on here, guys, we aren't getting paid unless you have tons of subscribers and views. This takes time. You have to be on schedule with the person. It just didn't work out. That's plain and simple. I didn't dump nobody. People start silly rumors. It wasn't like that. Larry's doing his channel. He's doing his stuff. And you got to get somebody that you can go back and forth with. And I think me and King, are that fit. So it was never like that. It was never planned for us to do it like that. We did a few ones. It was what it was, and that's it. So don't start silly rumors.
Let's say one more thing. We also had 300,000 views on RX.
Yeah.
We broke RX Muscle's record by a mile.
I think it was 4.
Whether you guys like us or you hate us, you're gonna come watch us. That's a good podcast. That's a good duo. That's a good combination. Next, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I mean, Akeem easily spent 20,000 his prize money on prepping for the Olympia easily, and
yeah,
I'm not sure if he has contracts and stuff like that. But you got to understand, guys, like as a bodybuilder, you have to look at it eventually, and most of us, we got started because we loved bodybuilding. We were never thinking about, oh, we're going to be rich one day. I think when I first got into it, I wasn't even like, I want to be a pro. I was like, I want to be in the magazine. That's like awesome. That's cool at our magazine era. Like kids don't care about that shit now because it wasn't around, but it's not around anymore. But to pick up a magazine and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I did that, and I was happy with it, and that's that. But a lot of these guys, they got to they're funding all their stuff. A lot of these guys, they're in between sponsors, and people think, sponsors now, it's not like it was back then. They might sign you a year. If you don't produce in that year, you're gone. These guys don't have solid funds unless they have an actual job. It's very rare, but some bodybuilders, Ronnie was a cop and Joel Stubbs was a pilot, and you got other bodybuilders that had jobs, but it's very rare for the lifestyle to be able to work a normal job. And so these guys are doing whatever they have to, struggling to get on there, and you have your fan base and all that. That's why, like, if you're a fan of certain bodybuilders, buy their merch, support them in whatever way, because they're not making the money you think they're making. Okay. So.
Yeah. And there's also a dark side too. You're talking to King, you're talking to Armon, you're going to get the real story with us. There's an easy way to do it. There's so many schmoes out there that'll pay thousands of dollars for your sweaty underwear and just the most disgusting things you can possibly do. You can go down that route. I wish you can go down. And also, you guys got to understand, it was a different era for me personally. When I got my pro card, there was Weider contracts, Muscle Mag contracts. You had Muscle Tech. He came to me and they rolled out the red carpet for me. So I was getting 5 different checks a month, not to mention guest posing, not to mention prize winnings, not to mention a lot of posing money, awards. So it was a great life, but at the same time, it's not what they're doing now. 600K, step up. Good job.
Yeah, King said, even me, I was never close to King's level, but you had to hustle. If you didn't have that hustle in you, you weren't going to make money. Yeah, you had, someone that really did, a guy, he passed away, but Joe LaBelle, he owned a site called mostmuscular.com. He did videos on YouTube. Like no one was even doing YouTube. So he would used to videotape me and Chris Jalali, Stephen Fraser, and he put it up there. And at 19, Joe's like, yeah, you and Chris have a lot of fans. And I'm like, fans? I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. And then I'm like, okay. And he's like, you need to make a website like ASAP so these people can contact you. We did. And we started making DVDs and all that. And so I remember Chris was like, how much should I sell my DVD for? I think I'm going to do like $20. I was like, dude, Jay Cutler's DVDs for 60. I'm going to sell mine for 60. He's like, but you're not Jay Cutler. I was like, I don't care. I'm just going to do it and see if it sells. Bro, I sold so many of those DVDs
because you're smart.
Yeah. And I know you sold a lot of your DVDs too.
Armon, they were telling me to charge $500 for guest posing. I remember asking Don Long. I said, Don, how much do you charge for guest posing? It was $500. You know what I was charging? $2,000.
What?
$2,000.
Yeah.
But I was smart because I would contact the promoters and I would say this. I was like, listen, I charge $2,000, but let me tell you what happens. I come to prejudging, I do a seminar, and I don't charge money for my pictures. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I don't charge pictures. I'll sign them out to everybody who was there because that's what I get. It makes you look good and it makes me look good. He was like, damn, King. I'm like, okay, all right, let's do it. And guess what? Everywhere I went, I did that. I never charged people for my pictures. I signed them out, and I went to prejudging and did a quick seminar afterwards. That's how you do it. You got to be smart. You got to work it. Was I at Nasser's level, Ronnie Coleman's level, Flex Wheeler's? No, but I was making more money than these guys. How? I was hustling.
Yeah.
You got to be a fucking hustler.
And that's what a lot of these guys got to do. You can't sit back and, wait for someone to come to you to hand you a certain contract. a lot of people are getting work that maybe you should be getting because you're at a better level, but they just have that hustle in them. And like I said, and when we talk about ourselves, we're not trying to make it about ourselves. We're trying to compare us to kind of what these guys do today. I think you're at the Arlington Expo one year, and I got your autograph picture. I don't know what year it was, but
that was the year Melvin and I guest posted. Melvin was 4 weeks out from the USA, shredded. I was fat boy off season, 6 months out from the Nationals. I remember that.
I think at one expo you ate like almost 10. You were there with a bunch of hot dogs. I remember at the expo. I don't remember what it was. But I remember I was like, "Fuck, that's a lot of hot dogs." But yeah, you were pounding them.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something about Pittsburgh too. Everybody when I went to guest posts at Pittsburgh, everybody kept saying, "Yo, man, Kai can eat more than you." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Me and Kai went to the post thing. I got to a point where Kai looked at me and said, "Man, something's wrong with you." I was like, "Don't challenge me to an eating contest, man. You're not Joey Chestnut. I'm gonna fucking crush you. Don't challenge me, man. I can eat."
See, I never could eat. That was my deal. I envy.
It's a disease. I can't stop. If I wanted to, I can. It's annoying. The appetite that I have. It's actually annoying, man. You don't want it. Trust me. You don't want it.
I think you're the only one that I know that, from that era that still can eat. These other guys are like 2-3 meals. Like I went out of town with Dave, he's eating maybe 2-3 meals and, like other guys. But yeah, I know you still eat a lot. But
the thing is, because, I got the secret down. I think you know this too. If you're eating clean, you get hungry. That's it. I mean, I'm not force feeding myself. I'll eat shrimp. And I'll eat some vegetables and I'll stir fry it like that. And I'll use some triglycerides or capture in it. I'm starving fucking 30 minutes. Sushi. You give me sushi, it's like eating air. It literally is like eating. I'm like, I could eat about 100 rolls. It's like, what is the point of this? That's why you got to go once in a while. And I'll tell you what, my weakness, chocolate, bro. Yeah. You give me a Snickers bar and I'm the happiest.
Because it's great if you can eat a lot of clean food, but if you have an appetite, my appetite's been like this. Before I guess 27, that's when all my acid I could eat. But then once I hit 27, my acid, gut stuff, and we'll talk about it on another episode. Eventually, I want to bring a couple doctors on to talk about some stuff. But OnlyFans, unfortunately, these girls, man, they're killing it with OnlyFans. They're making a lot of money, and I always think about like, who are these guys that are paying this money? That it's just a lot of money. Well, we know Larry Wills because he's come out and talked about his struggles and his addiction, and I totally understand addictions, whatever So, but that's his addiction, and he struggled with these OnlyFans girls. I'm like, porn's free. You can go watch porn for free, but it's not about that. It's like they get obsessed with a certain person, and they just give them a lot of money and buy all their. I've never even been on OnlyFans, but I've had a couple friends do it, and I've asked them. I asked this one girl, I thought she was making much. She was not making anything, and she's a decent looking girl. And I'm like,
it's hit or miss. It's definitely hit or miss, and it has a lot to do with personality too. Because look, right now the number one porn star in the world is a Bella Danger. If I saw a Bella Danger walking down the street, I wouldn't look twice at her. She's not my type. She's a little, 5 foot tall, 95-pound Hispanic girl. That's not my type. But she's got personality. She's sweet. She's this, and she's really good on the microphone, and she's good on her little thing. Yeah, well, that's what attracts it. I know a girl personally, just like you, who came from England to Canada, and it didn't work out, and she was struggling, man, struggling. The OnlyFans thing came up. She's living in a penthouse. She's driving a Cayenne. I mean, listen, man, it's easy money, but the problem is, your soul is done. Mm-hmm. There's nothing left. Your spirit, your soul, you just sold it all to the fucking devil. And and karma for all you out there is real. There is an actual thing. Karma will come back and bite you in the ass. And it always does at the end.
I'll say a little bit more of that and we'll move on. These people that do that, it does affect them. And like, there's so many videos or other stuff, life after porn. Most of these porn stars talk about the porn industry, suicide. It's a huge suicide rate. Most of these girls, they might do it 2 years. You're showing your body. So that's something that's supposed to be for your partner or whatever. I know people have different views and all that stuff. But you're just giving it away and you're making money on that. And it warps your mind. And even stuff that I did when I was younger, I did do some of part of the multiple worships. I didn't get into the sexual stuff like a lot of my friends. And thank God I didn't do any nude videos and jerking off videos and all that, because a lot of my friends did. But certain things to making money and worship. And I even I was on a site before escorting for women. And just doing that for 6 months, I made good money, and it was for a site, and they even had a TV show you could do. And I was not doing the TV show because I was trying to be discreet about it, but everybody found out about it. And I really wasn't embarrassed, but just doing that, and I started dating after that. I would go on a date, and I would feel like after the date, the girl was supposed to pay me money. And it's like, and I was doing some counseling at that time, and I told my counselor, she's like, yeah, all that stuff, it affects your future. So all these girls doing that, if they ever want to settle down or find some guy, not many guys are going to be, I don't know that many guys. They might say they're cool, but later down the road, when it affects your life, and you have kids, especially kids, you have kids, I have kids, it's like, it's going to affect stuff. It's not.
Let's end it with this phrase, right? So then we can go back to bodybuilding. Money will make your life easier, but it doesn't bring you happiness.
No.
Listen, let me repeat that one more time. And if we all you girls or guys out there who's like, oh, what's he talking about? Trust me, I know multimillionaires. I know a billionaire. I know these guys. They're depressed.
Very.
All of them are depressed. And for their own specific reasons, but mainly because they don't know if people like them for them or for their money, and nothing makes them happy. I was with a person who would have a suitcase full of cash, and we'd walk into the McLaren dealership, and then the next day he's depressed. I did that. I did the private jet thing. I did the bodyguard thing. I did the McLaren thing. I did all of those things. The guy was never happy. So money will make your life easier. It's not going to bring you happiness.
Yeah,
that's it. Let's go to other stuff. What's
Michael
saying? What's Jesse saying?
Something about Larry wasn't a good fit. I like our King Armon. Okay. Hello.
What's up, Kaylon?
King, appreciate that. We're gonna do a Fibalize for that.
I've never asked Dave for anything. Not one thing ever.
I lost my chat. There we go. Yeah. Dave sends me some stuff here and there. Yeah, I don't like to ask people for stuff at all. But yeah, Dave, he just sent me some pudding. So the pudding's awesome. We'll answer a few questions and kind of jump back and forth. Okay, is 33 too late for a natural bodybuilder to start competing? No, a natural. No.
33 is the new 23.
Yeah, I think you're better off because you had all those years natural. So you built a foundation. I'm not sure what you look like, but I'm assuming you built a foundation. And you said you've been bodybuilding. I'm not sure if you've been competing or not. But listen, you're going to have that longevity that if you started younger, you're going to be able to probably, be in your 50s and 60s and still be able to probably take stuff. I've had clients before in their 60s bodybuilding. They got a late start. And no, it's never too late. And if you want to hop on gear and do that, it's your personal decision.
33, never touched it. Imagine if he takes his one cycle of sip, he's gonna blow up.
You'll blow up.
Yeah, he's gonna blow up.
Yeah, you'll blow up. Arnold, we don't know. Let's see if Arnold goes up like he did last time. What does it set out now? 5, right?
500.
500. Yeah. We'll see if he matches Olympia. Maybe it'll stay the same. We don't know. Arnold is unpredictable, and I would love for bodybuilding to keep going up, and I think it should keep going up. And these guys, they deserve it. They work their ass off, and I think not only first place, but the other places need to make a little more money too.
In 2001, Ronnie Coleman did not want to do the Arnold Classic. People don't know this. This is a true. This is something. Give some facts to you guys. Ronnie didn't want to do the Mr. He was Mr. Olympia, but Arnold personally picked up the phone and called him and said, "Ronnie, I'm giving X amount of money, and we're giving you a brand new H1 Hummer and this and that, and we're giving you an Armand Peugeot watch and an AP watch and blah, 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 blah." Yeah. Ronnie's like, okay, I got it. And then he went on Jay Leno If you guys remember, he went on Jay Leno, took off his clothes, and said, "Hey, I just want to let everybody know I'm doing the Arnold." And
Yeah.
Arnold called me up and said he wants me to announcement. Right, I'll make the announcement here on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. So, yeah, man, money talks, y'all. Money talks.
Yeah. I had a lot of people, or this one guy was like, yeah, a lot of people think Samson was better, would beat Ronnie. I'm like, you're out of your mind. That's not even a comparison. That's just like, that's crazy.
No.
Yeah, a lot of sexless married dudes buy OnlyFans. Regardless, that's why when you get married, that's why you shouldn't get married just because the person's the sexiest girl alive. You should have a good friendship before, and you got to have all the other factors for a marriage to work. A lot of the women porn stars are dying young. Yeah, they do. Suicide, drug overdoses. I don't know. A lot of people, all those series, Life After Porn. And
That's almost like anything, in life. People have a misconception. Like when you say to somebody, "Yeah, I'm in the NFL," everybody thinks, "Oh my God, you're going to be a multi-million." No, 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 no. There's only one Brady. There's only one this. There's only one that. The college guys come up. You go. You're there for about a year. The next group comes up. There's only one or two or three or maybe four franchise guys that stays there. It's like that with anything, man. People it's a rotation and you got to go. You got to be smart.
Stories about the famous millionaires, and I'm a 400 person. Yeah, I mean, like King said, like I have close friends too. One of my best friends, he has a lot of money, and when he meet girls, it's hard to hide his wealth. And he just wants all he wants. He looks at me and he sees, I have wife and kids, and that's all he wants. And he's well off. And you always look at other people and you think their life's better. You have no clue what they feel like inside or what they want. Trust me, these people that have a lot of money, most of them, like King said, they usually, if you can buy everything, like anything and everything, what's the excitement of like really working hard to save up and buy this or this? I mean, I've dated girls where, I remember a girl one time, their family, her and her family, they were going to buy me my own gym. I was so unhappy in the relationship. I broke up with a girl because I didn't care for that. I just didn't want to be a part of that family. The family was miserable. And okay, this is a question. Okay. Armon and Kamali, do you think the guys on Olympia stage use only farmer grade or UGL stuff or whatever they can get? You want to go for that, King? And
whatever they can get. Whatever they can get. Yeah. That's another fantasy world misconception. Don't think that these guys have all doctors that deliver shit to their house with their, in styrofoam and wrapped and it's perfect. No, it's not how it works. It's not how it works. We don't know what happened with Nick Walker, but one of the theories is he was using crappy shit.
Yeah, that's what Dave said. I don't think that. I just know Matt, and I know Matt's hookups, especially with Anchor. Like, I don't think that's it at all. Well, they'll eventually get into that. I saw some footage of Nick at his booth, and he looked depressed. I mean, that's got to suck to be at the Olympia and show face.
Depressed, man. Obviously, he's going to be depressed.
Nothing's worse than your mind wanting it, but your body not responding. And everybody's bodies are going to stop responding one day, but he's way too young for that to start happening. So, look at the classic physique guy. Peterson, I always forget his name. Black guy, Peterson.
George Peterson.
Yeah. So when he passed away, they did his autopsy, and we all know the normal cycles these guys are taking. They only found a few compounds. It was like testosterone, winstrol, and trin, and we know he was taking more than that. But that's all they found in his system. And that just goes to show you he was obviously taking fake gear because he was taking more compounds than that. So no, these guys, like I said, it goes back to the money. They don't have the money to. I mean, you could only get so much. When people say farm grade stuff, what do you mean? In the U.S., they can prescribe, like the clinic I'm with now, they can prescribe testosterone, Anavar, Winstrol, Anadrol. And they actually were doing EQ. They got approved to do EQ for a while, but then they already pulled it because people were in DECA. So those are the compounds you can get prescribed, but they can't prescribe doses you need to compete. They can prescribe like therapeutic doses, So no, they're not doing that. Plus, these guys are getting what they can get.
Yeah, agree. 100% agree.
Appreciate that, guys. Appreciate that. Sex worker provides her services. If you give her money, a modern woman wants a man with money to provide for her. In return, she provides sex. What's the difference? Some guys think there's no difference. Some people think like, hey, I'm paying anyways. If I'm in a marriage, I think a marriage should be mutual. You both bring stuff to the table, and that's how a marriage, I think, should be. Some guys that's been through a lot of hard. I mean, listen, I've been through a lot of rough relationships, bad women. I've been in legal trouble because of women, made up stuff. And no, I'm still not jaded that way. That yes, I can go pay a sex worker, but in my mind, I'm wired differently. On my mind, I'm like, okay, how many men have they slept with today? How I would feel disgusting having sex with that woman. Just maybe when I was younger, that'd be different, but now I feel gross just going and get a prostitute or sex worker.
Yeah, my mentality is I'm elite.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are going to be. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, that's so conceited, King. Why do you talk like?" Well, that's me. I think I'm elite. I only have a certain type, and I go for that. And then, unfortunately, I go for the 10s and the models, and and the problem with those girls is they're incredibly insecure.
Yeah,
that's one of my. If you want from my own personal experience, the hotter the girl, the more insecure they are.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of these strip clubs too, like when I used to go to strip clubs when I was younger, you'd see girls there or you get to know girls. I became a lot of friends with a lot of girls because what I was doing my whole stripping thing. And a lot of these girls, they're miserable. They hate doing it. Like, man, fuck, I have to go to work. And that's where you get into a lot of the substance use. They're doing it because they're unhappy at work. They're miserable. They don't want old guys touching them and groping them, and they're doing the drugs to numb. We all know that industry. There's a lot of drugs, and they do that because they're miserable. It's some of them are miserable. Most of them are miserable.
Armon, I could tell you a story. Whenever we have time, I'll get into it. I went to Cancun with a friend of mine who was a stripper, and with her sugar daddy. She wouldn't go without me. She convinced him that I have to come. Mm-hmm. And the carnage that happened in Mexico, it goes down in the record books as top 5 insanity things that happened in my life. I'll get into that one day when we have a show about craziness and all that stuff. But yeah, man, it's you have no idea. These kids have no freaking idea how bad it is out there.
Undoubtedly, you both are gentlemen, are the most honest voices without a leaking bias or prejudice. Appreciate
because
that.
We don't have any more. We're not trying to get ready for shows. There's no politics involved. I'll say it like it is, man. Another thing, going back to Andrew, actually, this will tie into that. A lot of people always used to say, it's not fair, Weinberger and all the New York athletes, to go see Weinberger. Well, that was smart. You go to a head judge, and you're like, hey, man, here I am. What do I need to do to win the show? And Steve will look at you and say, well, that sucks, and that's pretty good. And you're hearing it from the head judge. I did that at the Montreal show when I beat Dennis Wolf. He came into my room. I said, okay, what do I need to do? He goes, tighten up a little bit more. He's going to be close, but tighten it up. And guess what? I tightened up. I got a little bit dark. I did what I had to do. And the next day during prejudging, I beat Dennis Wolf. So listen, when you have like all these little things in front of you, Chad one year, I was dying before the Nationals. Ronnie had just won the Olympia, and I was being a little bitch. And Chad goes, Ronnie is in New Jersey, and I was in Virginia. It's like only 2 hours away. He goes, he's there for the Miss Olympia because Vicky was competing. You want to come see him? I'll give you some motivation. I got there 2:00 in the morning, and all you hear is stomp, stomp, stomp. Ronnie doing cardio in the hotel on that shitty treadmill, sweating his ass off 1 week out from the Olympia. That was just, I looked at him, I'm like, wow. That's it. I never complained after that. Ever again. Just watching that.
So you guys were up in the East Coast. I took a trip up there one time. It was one of those off seasons that I lost muscle to do some modeling work, and I went up there and I was supposed to go see Steve, but I went out party the night before, and I woke up and I was really hungover, and I was like, my friend Casey, he lived out there, Persian guy. He was supposed to take me up to Weinberger's gym, but I'm like, well, I'm going up there and I'm like looking, I'm like 210 pounds in modeling shape, and and so I didn't go. And that was probably still a mistake because I could have explained to him what's going on and show him other pictures. And I made so many stupid mistakes like that, held me back. But, back then we didn't have Tyler Emanuel or people coming out telling you exactly what to do on the internet. Our state chairman at the time, Lee Thompson, Junior Nationals one year, came up to me. I just got off stage. I got third at the Junior Nationals that year, and I was like, Dave was like, "You're winning the show. You're obviously the winner. Your guy knows bad, but they're not going to hold you back." I was like double the size of the other guys. Anyways, so after the show, this guy came up to me. He's like, "Hey, brother, why didn't you tell me you were at the show?" And this was a time that a lot of the gay guys showed up there, and nothing wrong with that, and fans. And I thought it was a guy approaching me. I was just pissed off, and I'm like, dude, who the fuck are you? He goes, "I'm your state chairman, Lee Thompson." So I didn't even know. We didn't even know at that time who our state chairman was, because it wasn't like it is today, where who everybody is. I was at the national level already. It was my first or second. I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah. Armon, I was a little bit, I don't want to upset you, but East Coast was a little bit different, man.
I know it was.
My state chairman was Eric Hillman, and he took me to Japan with him, man. He's like, let's go to Japan. Guest post at the military base. What? Yeah, I got your business class, on Nippon Air. My God. Of course I'm going to go, So we get lucky. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't, because sometimes the chairman are assholes. But nowadays, you can't really hide that stuff no more with the internet. With social media, people get. Tyler has to. He doesn't have a choice. He has to get out there because they'll hammer him. He knows it. So it's a good thing that he's doing. He's coming out and saying, okay, the reason why Andrew Jack was placed here is because of XYZ. It's because of that. And then last year, he did that with Samson. He goes, the reason why it was close, but the reason why Samson got where he got is because he still needs more conditioning, and we got to bring up the back a little bit. Thank you. That's what I needed to hear. Thank you, Mr. Tyler Manning.
Yeah, like Sadiq, the physique guy. I listened to his story, and he just happened to get a membership because he wanted to get bigger to Bev's Powerhouse, and he was just the right place, right time, and he started working out. And they said, "Why don't you do this?" And he said, "If it wasn't for that, I would have never became, a top men's physique competitor." And
right,
I know the East Coast guys. You have your thing, and the West Coast guys that have their thing. I would visit the West Coast all the time, do shoots, and see. A lot of people out there I knew, they would move out there in a van and live rough and go to Golds. And I just didn't want to do that. I got homesick. I was living with my parents at a young age. I was really close with my parents, like I knew you were too. And sometimes, you do things. Attended Mr. Kamali's Instagram live sessions almost every single time he does. He's extremely considerate and honest person, considering his immense stature.
Thank you, Kayla. Appreciate it.
There you go. You guys covering the Arnold on RX or this platform? Yeah, we'll probably go on RX, I believe.
Yeah, listen, this platform right here, the Iron OGs, is just the beginning. It's going to blow up. It's going to blow up big time, because we're not just only going to talk about bodybuilding. We're going to talk about everything else too. So hold on to your butts. But for Dave is a friend. We do, we never. There's no money involved. There's no nothing. We do it because we just like each other. Everybody's friends. Everybody's cool with each other.
Absolutely. The flip side, though, is they would hate a normal 9-to-5 worse. That's true. Like, I know when I was younger, I was like, man, I never would wear a suit to work and work a 9-to-5. That's my worst nightmare. And I don't know how you were when you were younger and what you wanted to be.
Same. Couldn't take orders from anybody.
Right. So compared to bodybuilding for a living, even if you're struggling. To some people that love working a 9-to-5, they love having that structure. They love having, not to depend on making their own money. They have a paycheck; it's guaranteed. Bodybuilding is completely different. You don't know what you're getting, when you're getting it, and until you get to a certain level, like King was and all that. But so yeah.
Let's do something else here. Let's go down, because I got the list in front of me too. Let's do quick, like a minute, like what's that show with when they do the rundown at the end, that ESPN show? You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so Raphael, I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and then you say what you gotta say. Okay, Raphael, don't take pictures in the mirror, bro. Don't do that again. That was a huge mistake. You take your
Oh yeah.
pictures in the mirror, that's going to make you look twice as big. People are going to think that that's what you're going to look like on stage. That's not what you look like on stage, Rafael. You have great shape. You have great physique. You have everything's there. But when you give a false impression of what you're going to bring, and then you walk out there and you don't look like that, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Go.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Persians. I have Arab friends. I'm not racist against Arabs. No, so I'm not one of those Persians that are racist against Arabs. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that whole Raphael thing, I knew the mirror. That's not how you look in the mirror when you're shooting in the mirror. That's good. I mean, once you pull the water and all that other stuff, we expected a better Rafi, but that's what you get, and you're going to disappoint people. I mean, let's post raw pictures. Don't filter them. Don't do anything because you got to be seen on stage, and it is what it is. Yeah.
Okay, so next one, Martin. I didn't think that he was going to do what he did. Impressive, definitely impressive. He's small compared to the big monsters, but the shape is there. He checked all the boxes. There was no weak points from head to toe. He was built, and he looks like a nice guy. He seems like a nice guy. You probably know him a lot better than I do. And Congratulations to Martin. You look great. Go to the Arnold Classic and let's see what you got, baby.
Yeah, Martin's a hard worker. He's young, he's 26. He lived here for a while. We trained together, probably maybe 4 or 5 times. He'd been by the house. He's a really nice kid. His dad was a bodybuilder too, so he's not like foreign to this, and he has a really bright future. Hunter, you go?
Yeah, Hunter. Listen, best hunter. Best hunter that I've seen. That layer of water was almost gone, not completely, but almost gone. Good color. The pec tear is still there, but you can't do nothing about that. It's all there. I don't know what else he can do. I don't know what else he can do to improve.
Yeah, I think it was his best look. His glutes, if you look at the pictures, his glutes weren't in the pictures. Did you look at the back pictures?
Yeah, I mean, listen, overall, it was his best look. How's that?
Best. Yeah, overall, it was his best. Some people were saying his dad helped him kind of this time in a certain way. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that either.
Like I still think it comes back to his friend helping him. They might keep getting better. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think in general, with a coach that's not your friend, he's just going to do better. It doesn't have to be a big name coach. There's tons of good coaches out there that are somewhere in the, out in nowhere that are good coaches. You just got to get someone that knows your body. Like I said, I think they have too much of a friendship, and I think that affects like, hey, you're going to do this. No, that's just too much. Okay, yeah, you're probably right. Let's do this. So that's how I think. How I think that is. William Bonac, where does he go?
Ah, man. Again, great guy. I love the fact that he pounced on Samson when Samson was declared the winner. He was so happy for him. That was genuine happiness for another athlete. Another English athlete. The Sandals going back to Great Britain, and I like winning, but I think that this is the twilight of his career. I don't think that there's nothing more that we can see from William, but he's still, top 10 in the world. What do you do?
Yeah, he a few years ago we thought like, okay, he's done. Then I think he hired Chad, and he came back a little better, and then he, came back again this year, and this is your passion. If you're, maybe you can't be as good as you used to be, but it's hard to let it go. If he's healthy and he doesn't have injuries, what if it makes you happy? Keep doing it. If you're doing it and you're miserable, quit.
And you're healthy.
Like it got to like me. I would have still done it. I got to a point. I had too many injuries. I couldn't train hard. It just didn't make sense for me to do it. I didn't like taking. Once I get a little older, I couldn't take all that stuff. It made me feel horrible. It made me act. The gear affected me in a negative way,
I'm not
mentally.
Ever.
Yeah. Do you both agree that Hadi should have won the Olympia? Politics involved with being Iranian? No, it's not. Politics weren't involved.
No,
he didn't have the physique this year.
How could politics be involved when they were tied after prejudging? Right. You were tied after prejudging, and no, that had nothing to do with it. He was just Samson was more complete. That's it. That's the end of the sentence right there. He was more complete.
Mr. Kamali, which competition have you competed that illustrates your career? Did you bring your best package?
Conditioning wise was the Ironman 2001, but a total package, I would say Night of Champions 2003, or maybe the Ironman in 2005. It was up and down for me like this because I was in a bad marriage. You know, I've said that 1,000 times. You know, if I had somebody who backed me up, it would have been completely different. But we're not talking about that. Let's go to what should we call it? Let's go to De La Rosa. Can he do anything else? I mean, that was a great John De La Rosa, wasn't it?
He looks great.
Anything was wrong with him.
He looks great, and I think he can still win other pro shows. I just think that this level, it's you got different levels, and it's just he's great. He's a great bodybuilder. Yeah. He's a really nice guy, and that's his placing, and it is what it is.
Should he do the New York Pro or the Arnold Classic in your opinion?
I'd say the New York Pro.
Yeah, I agree. New York Pro. His hometown, back his fans, his family. Yeah, I think he should do the New York Pro too.
Brandon Curry.
Brandon, damn man. I mean, he was. It's just like everything was there. He was about 5% off in conditioning, and then even though the legs still had the fullness, no cuts. It's just like 5% off of his conditioning. I don't know what to do with Brandon, man. I don't know. He's a former Mr. Olympia, so he can come back anytime he wants. He doesn't have to qualify. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's a contractual thing and he's getting paid for it and stuff like that, then I would continue. But if there's no money in it and it's just it's a deficit instead of a positive thing, then I would stop.
So I really didn't know what happened with Abdullah and him. So I guess what happened was Brandon likes to start his preps like when he's in the off season, he gets small and he doesn't do an off season and all that. And he's done that. He's always done that. So they were at certain weeks out, and Abdullah said, "Bro, like we're not going to be ready in time. You're just too small." And so I think it was like 8 weeks out or something like that. And so he didn't want to coach Brandon. He said, "Brandon, we're not going to be ready for the Olympia." So Brandon, I'm not sure who coached him, but guy, this is Olympia. You can't go and not work out or have an off season at this level. You got to come back and improve. So that's 100%. What Brandon.
100%.
Yeah, that's what Brandon, I guess he's been doing before, but once you get older, things don't stick as well, and you can't do that.
No, you can't.
This is your profession. You can't go just hang out, and he gets small in the offseason. I don't know if you've seen him, but he gets down there.
He's one of those guys that has the Dexter Jackson receptors. You take a shot and you put on 10 pounds overnight.
Yeah.
Kevin Levrone was the same way. Kevin would get real small, and then suddenly 2 weeks into his prep, you blow right back up again. It's crazy genetics. So now I have some news. I have some news that nobody knows about. I've been going back and forth with Behruz. I have never really spoken to him before, but he started to like all my pictures after the Olympia. And he sent me a very nice DM saying that he's always looked up to me, and I was one of his inspirations to get into the gym and all that stuff. And I said, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And then we started going back and forth. He's devastated.
Yeah, he's
devastated. I'm telling you guys that right now. He is. I'm just starting to get to know him, and I'm telling you right now that he is crushed. He's crushed. He's heartbroken because I believe, and this is my opinion, I believe that he's better than Martin. And if Martin got fourth, I think he could have easily gotten fourth. That's how good Behruz is, So no disrespect to Martin. He's a great bodybuilder. Congratulations for Martin for what he accomplished. Because Behruz is a different animal. I'm trying to right now, because I talked to Milos 2 days ago. And Milos loves the guy. He's like, he's not what you think, King. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of Iranians out there that are a little two-faced. And they don't want you to, it's part of the Iranian culture. I really don't blame them. I think it's more the what happened with the country and everything. It just turned them into different types of people. Their personalities changed. But apparently, Behruz is not like that. So he's got Prague coming up. Is it Prague? What are the two shows that are coming up?
I know. I never can remember those.
Yeah, there's two shows coming up, and he should definitely. He's having second thoughts. He's got to jump on there. I am not stepping on any toes. Don't for 1 second you guys think because that I'm talking to Behruz, I'm gonna start coaching him. No. It's more moral support. Like he looks up to me because I'm an OG and I was there and this and that. But I think he should definitely apply for the Arnold Classic. He'll be able to. I mean, enough is enough. Right now, apparently, from what he told me, he's still in his FBI background check phase. How long does that take?
Because it's been what, 3 years since it's been
Seriously,
wrapped
how long
up
does
in
it
that.
take? You know,
Man.
there's got to be a certain point. I still deep down in my heart believe that if he was paying taxes here in the United States, if there was a company that was hiring him as an athlete and he was paying taxes, there would be a loophole. That's how Hadi's coming over here.
Yeah.
How else is Hadi coming over here?
With even Jen, yeah.
Yeah, so
It's a shame.
Let's hope and pray that the Behruz can make it to the Arnold Classic. And now imagine Behruz, Samson, Hadi. I mean, Arnold will be salivating. Oh my God, it'll be bigger than the Olympia.
Unfortunately, it's like it's stuck in that phase. I guess it's been 3 years now, and you know who knows if it's ever even gonna pass. And that sucks because he's one of the best in the world, and we want to see him on stage. And his conditioning and physique, it's amazing.
And he's not going to defect and all that stuff because that's ridiculous. You know why? Because he'll take his money and he'll go back to Iran and he'll be a hero. He'll be a national hero. Yeah. He'll be a god over there. They'll do exactly what they did for Hadi, though, where they'll come to the airport and carry him on their shoulders and all that stuff. Why would he ever want? No, it's bullshit. This politics stuff has got to stop, man. Behruz should be at the Olympia, and he should apply immediately for the Arnold Classic.
It's a shame. And let me just touch on this real quick since it's on the cover, and I got so many messages about it. The classic physique. Chris Bumstead, Mike Summerfield, second place guy. Did you watch the classic? Did you watch the classic? Okay, yeah. So second place, Mike Summerfield. Some think Mike should have beat him. It was close, and on the score sheet, Mike had got some first places. Listen, Chris is the guy to beat. He's like a classic physique guy. I'm sure other people he told knew he was retiring this year. I'm not saying he won because of his name. I think he should won. Yeah, Mike pushed him hard. Mike looked great, and I just want to touch on that because I got a lot of messages and CBum's on the cover. I think he was the winner. But Mike is pushed him hard, and next year, and CBum, he made a statement that he was done last year. He was mentally done a year or two ago with all this. Listen, what does he have to prove? He has a lot of injuries. He has his kidney condition. When you fall out of love with something because you're tired, I mean, bodybuilding's a rough life. You're eating nonstop. Mm-hmm. You're putting all this chemicals in your body, the injections. It sucks, guys. I know when you get started, you young guys, you look forward to your injections and all that stuff, and it's easy to eat the meals. These guys that's been doing it for a living for a while, and even though he's sixth time, he's tired. He wants to have a family. He's introverted. He wants to live a normal life. I think he's going to be one of these guys that's going to probably get real thin and he's still going to be involved, and he's always going to make money. I mean, he made a name for himself that no one's going to forget. And I think he was a clear winner, though. What about you, King?
Yeah, agree, 100%. It wasn't a knockout. It was a 12
round. No.
It wasn't
a knockout. It was not.
No, it was not a knockout, but he definitely deserved to win. And I'm glad that they're spicing things up. We have a new wellness champion. Keon was I think the star of the entire division of the entire 2024 Mr. Olympia was Keon. He was damn near perfect right there, man. Incredible.
He looked insane.
Yeah, just crazy. So he did what he had to do. Now he's gonna go and he's got his Gymshark. I think he's a minority owner or something like that.
Yeah, he bought a percentage of it, and they make crazy money.
He's got his, unfortunately though, but the bodybuilding is very fickle. People forget quickly. I always use the the example. I don't know if he's going to get upset if I say this, but look at Phil Heath. 7-time Mr. Olympia, and you don't get what it is. Blah blah blah. That's how it is. That's how bodybuilding.
You don't get the respect. You don't get the respect he should.
Yeah.
And Chris might retire now, and then he might feel like, oh, this is because you're just tired every year, and whoever's up next, because there's going to be obviously a new champion. He retired. A few years might go by. He's young. I think he's 29. A few years might go by and be like, man, I missed the stage, man. He has a newborn right now. Well, when newborn is very different than when they get a little older. there might be, and people ask, like, do you think he'll ever come back? You know, like Arnold did. Yeah, anything could happen.
Anything
He's burnt out right now. He's burnt out to the max right now. I think, yeah, people do forget you very fast. I mean, Phil Heath, the best of the world, like King said, he doesn't get the respect he deserved at all. People still will say, oh, he was cocky, and they made him look bad in that Generation Iron. And people got to understand what you always see in these Generation Irons and other stuff. They paint certain pictures. People start rumors. A lot of you guys don't know the real truth and behind the scenes stuff about a lot of stuff. So you got to understand, but Phil Heath is an amazing bodybuilder. I mean, next to Ronnie Coleman, I mean, yeah. So what else, King? Anything else?
No. I think we should listen. If you guys want ideas for shows, you give it to us. Communicate with us. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about. We can talk about training. We can talk about life. We can talk about money. We can talk about sex. We can talk about drugs. There's a million things that we can talk about. I have 1,000. Somebody just came in here and said you should bring Cormier. He's got 1 million stories. I got more stories than Chris.
The thing with Chris doesn't like to tell these stories. Chris doesn't like the partying. He hates when they say, "Well, you partied all the time. You could have been better." He hates that shit. I don't think Chris. I've partied with Chris before. I don't think Chris wants to tell his stories. I think he likes where he's at now. He's in a good place. When you go back to that spot where Chris was partying.
I made a promise to Chris too. I said I will never talk about the stuff that we did together. There's a lot of stuff that me and Chris have done, from New York to Vegas to Miami to Toronto. I won't say any of those things, but to Australia, we have a lot of stories. But you keep a lot of those stories to yourself. But there's stuff that I would talk about with myself. I have no problem talking to him about.
Yeah, we'll talk about partying. We'll talk about relationships. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Email us, contact us on IG, whatever. I think IG email is probably best for both of us.
Yeah.
And tell us what you guys want to hear for the show. We're doing this every Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Whatever's going on during that week. If a show's going on, we'll go over stuff, bodybuilding stuff. We're not just going to be just bodybuilding. Okay. We're gonna talk about other stuff. If you have questions about relationships, me and King have our fair share of relationships. And I'm talking about dysfunctional relationships where we betrayed to the fullest and where we've made a lot of mistakes. And I know it's different now, and a lot of things are different with women, and dating world's different. But we've got a lot of stories that can help the younger guys. You guys grew up on the internet and social media, and there's real life. Real life's very different. And a lot of guys are like a lot of my young friends and clients. They're very naive when it comes to women. So we'll tell our stories and all that in future episodes. And whatever you guys want to hear, we'll talk about it. Drugs, all kinds of whatever. So thanks for joining today, Iron OGs. And we'll see you next Thursday. And peace out, guys.
Peace.
Oh, I'll say my guys. We came out with a couple more products. AMG Labs, go to my website, armonadibi.com. All the products are on there. For coaching, we both coach. So King, go ahead.
I got 4 spots open. I got 4 guys that are finishing in 3 weeks. They got their shows coming up. Then when I have 4 spots open, only contact me if you're serious. I say that all the time, even in my Instagram lives. I don't want to deal with any bullshit people. If you're serious, contact me. I'll give you all my information.
Yep. All right, guys, have an amazing Thursday. Peace out. See you next Thursday.
Peace.